y la lucha del pueblo de Grenada, compañero Maurice Bishop, primer ministro de Grenada.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished members, sisters and on behalf of our party dual movement, our government, people of Grenada, I want to thank MEP, the electoral movement of the people of Aruba, for extending such a generous invitation for me and my delegation to be in your country. I extend, Mr. Chairman, the fullest cordial and sincerest best wishes and congratulations to the founders, the officers, and others of MEP on the occasion of 10 years of your as a popular people's party. Congratulate you in particular, Mr. Chairman, for your very clear, your very leadership over these past 10 years. I certainly have been impressed by your sincerity, by your honesty, by the steadfastness you have demonstrated in pursuit of your very principled and just. Mr. Chairman, I congratulate you also on the occasion of years of the launching of a flag and an anthem of the proud people of Aruba. The formation of a popular people's party, launching of both a flag and an anthem, signify most clearly to all the world that the people of Aruba are indeed serious and committed to the forward march of determination and independence. In Grenada, you must know that the people of Aruba have a very deep assurance that in us they will always have a true ally and a true supporter. Mr. Chair, I'm particularly happy and enthusiastic to be here because we in the party and government of Grenada have a very deep commitment to the process of Caribbean independence and liberation, and as importantly, to Caribbean nation solidarity and cooperation. It is our very firm view that we were colonized by different masters, therefore have had different colonial experiences which have served to divide and separate us, to rule us better. We are essentially and fundamentally one Caribbean people, hardworking, patriotic, democratic, progressive, anxious to life, anxious to develop our own processes free from all forms of outside direction. Colonialism, Mr. Chairman, we were taught different European cultural norms, and we are encouraged to ape our respect masters. In addition to this, long and bitter rivalries between the colonial themselves ensure that we do not have much opportunity for contact with each other. They carved up our region and gave rise to artificial differences of language, cultural differences, strengthened by our geographic separation. Many island states, such as the Seychelles, the Bahamas, with some 600 islands, have shown that geographic barriers are insurmountable. Indeed, the 6 members of the Federation of the Netherlands have given the world the best proof that despite geographical separation, you are committed to and can in fact work together in the interest of all of the people of the 6 islands. And it is for this and other reasons that we believe that part of the process of gaining our sovereignty in the Caribbean must include the struggle to remove artificial barriers. Thus, one of our main concerns as an English-speaking Caribbean country is to actively develop the closest possible ties and cooperation with the Dutch-speaking, the French-speaking, Spanish-speaking, and indeed the American-speaking sister islands. To this, Mr. Chairman, we are committed as party, as government, and as people. I am particularly happy also to be here because this act has become a mini gathering of the international. It has provided an opportunity, therefore, to meet with some friends for old days, in particular to be with Comrade Gallardo of Guatemala, comrade who has been in front of his own struggle, a man given his entire life to the struggle for his people, a man, therefore, this entire conference, I am sure, will want to go on record recognizing the tremendous contribution that he has made over the years. This conference also provides for me an opportunity to meet with the distinguished and illustrious Secretary General Bernd Carlson of the Socialist International. And I am certain, Mr. Chairman, that you will want me to take the full opportunity of this occasion and to engage in talks with Mr. Carlson. I certainly intend to do so. In approaching the SATA, in approaching the question of development, we see it as an ongoing scientific activity, having as primary goals the attainment of the fullest social, cultural, spiritual, political, and economic potential of any people, particularly for poor, exploited, and countries of the world. We see the task of development as having both a political and economic dimension. And we clearly then that there is an unbreakable link between economic transformation and political independence. For us, there is a clear link between the price we pay for essential goods and services and the political outlook of the ruling party of any country. Hence, we are convinced that there can be no strict separation between politics and economics. The two, inextricably linked, give rise to the political economy of development. This approach to the question of development is indispensable to our survival, being as we are, countries with long histories of colonialization, backwardness, and underdevelopment. And therefore, in any genuine effort to go forward, raising the standard of living for our people, moving from superstition, ignorance, illiteracy, badness, and widespread poverty to job, decent housing, and all basic needs of our people, has registered possible political commitment, the political will, highest political unity, aspirations, poor developed countries. These include a very low, generally grossly uneven per capita, a low level of scientific, technological development, as well as a lot of institutions and organizations designed for modern production. In addition, small island states actually have small land size and small resource bases. Countries into this category generally have a land size no larger than 500 square miles, or approximately 1,200 kilometers. The limitations of all land base are many, including the need for a much stricter economic and social use of the limited land that we have. Land use policies are often indispensable to orderly housing, cultural, recreational, and other mental needs. Small land, which is often combined with small population, also gives rise to the unavoidable problem of limited internal markets. This generally leads to the creation of structural dependence on external markets, and certain political implications naturally flow from this. One implication is that a country dependent on another, much larger and more powerful, finds that independent political and ideological decisions are often near impossible and needed for economic consideration. This can frustrate and compromise the political will of it. Given small size, Mr. Chairman, combined with a near exclusive dependence on one or two economic sectors, such as agriculture or oil refining, such countries experience a high of vulnerability. A heavy reliance on agriculture, this vulnerability is compounded by the fact that The country in question most only exports the raw material, where the value added that goes with processing activities accrues to the developed countries. A pertinent example is Grenada's nutmeg, which is now sold in its raw form to Holland, among other countries. It is then processed by that country into condiments of different sorts and exported to Aruba and back itself. Holland, not Grenada, therefore gets the considerable value-added final product. In the case, the country is dependent on mass decisions taken by transnationals and demand fluctuations in the developed world for which Aruba or Curacao has absolutely no control. This places the country in question in severe jeopardy because in a matter and through a single decision of a transnational corporation, disproportional hardship can befall a small island state. This economic terror can be much more easily bust in the case of a country developed, where there are more economic sector activities. The problems which emerge here are complex and challenging. Small populations mean that there is a pool of skilled persons to draw in the total developmental process. The engineering, planning, implementation phases of key development projects and programs are often in the hands of international technical experts who are not always psychologically or culturally or sufficiently motivated with the array of social, cultural, even bureaucratic problems they might encounter. Administrative and programmatic bottlenecks can arise, further delaying the task of bringing benefits to the people. And even when small island states produce skilled and talented citizens, migration to the ever-luring metropolitan center is a constant setback for most developing countries, and this becomes an even greater disruption in the case of small island states. Thus, efficiency and a degree of balance in our human resources pool is extremely difficult to obtain. In the case of economic development activity, it becomes near impossible to take full advantage of international grants by not having the national counterparts with the required skills programs into effect. This of a human resource pool is in all sections of society. It becomes literally impossible to train mechanics, agronomists, social scientists, all at the same time and in adequate numbers in one time. Small population and the resultant small pool of skilled persons also adversely affect foreign policy. You might ask, how is it so? This is so because we just find it difficult to staff our pool inside the country. As difficult, if not even more difficult, to staff even the modest few diplomatic missions that we around the world. And these ones, you would agree, play a valuable role in the foreign economic policy and the general political diplomatic ones, which is so crucial to the small island state. Mr. Chairman, lack of capital formation immediately presents problems of local investments, which in turn frustrates job creation as well as an expansion of a modern industrial nation. Thus, it is not uncommon for agriculture to remain underdeveloped and dependent on rudimentary backward technology. A good example of this is that in 1981, despite the scientific and technological leaps evident in the developed world, the cutlass, an invention of the 1800s, is still the major planting and harvesting tool in almost all of our islands. The inability to finance a modern physical infrastructure is also a feature of local development. Airports, seaports, jetties, roads, adequate transportation, efficient communication systems are either non or else relics of collective interests and priorities. We should note that there is a more efficient transportation network to and London than between Grenada and Aruba. Inside one's own, inside one's country, the lack of communication, transportation infrastructure results all too often in an inability to push the economy forward at a satisfactory pace. And in some cases, glaring town and country differences that are truly unwarranted and downright ridiculous continue to exist in countries as small as ours. Tourism, so dependent on efficient water, sewerage, electricity, and telephone supplies, can in fact be non-competitive if it does not keep pace with neighboring attractiveness and competition. Finally, the most critical problem of small islands is the vulnerability to natural disasters such as hurricanes and volcanic eruptions. In recent months, these have taken both a human and economic toll on islands in our region, such as Vincent, the eruption of the Soufriere, Grenada, floods, and Dominic, Hurricanes Allen and Frederick. It is perhaps, Mr. Chairman, noteworthy that whereas in just 1 month, November 1979, we had in Grenada 23 inches, I am told that in Aruba, your annual rainfall is about 18 inches. It appears we have too much rain, we have too little. As we meet here to counter the political and economic development of our states, we must know that the economy is riddled with an economic crisis of massive proportions. In this recent report on the world economic situation, the International Monetary Fund begins with a statement that the world economic picture is rather grim. The international monetary and economic crisis in the industrial Western world is manifested in many ways. Unemployment of phenomenal proportions. Some 40 million people estimated to be out of work. Unofficial figures of 14 million for the United States and some 3 million for the United Kingdom. Runaway inflation, double-digit inflation, most unheard of in post-World War II industrial societies, seem to have a firm hold of these very economies. Prolonged decline in industrial output. This has come to be a permanent feature in economies once considered to be stable and advancing. There is also the worsening of the back trade, especially for developing countries. It is accelerating at a faster than recovery path. Further, by environmental decay and intrusion of land, of air, of sea, of rivers. Chairman, there is too the deterioration of the condition of the rural poor, in particular in developing countries. Illiteracy rates are increasing in some of these countries, especially among women. Nutrition, famine, and hunger are also on the rise. So the spread of scientifically cured diseases. All these are the lot of some 400 to 450 million people in today's world. This economic crisis in the industrial countries is characterized as the worst economic mess since the Great Depression of 1909. Mr. Chairman, if this is so big and rich, then how much worse will it be for us, the small and poor countries of the world? We in Grenada recognize the obstacles that we face, particularly as in addition to economic crisis, we also are contend with increasing military threat and destabilization of forms against our country. Yet our experience over 2 years has been concrete proof that it is possible to move forward and to make progress even in the face of adversity. How possible? Our experience has taught us that if the following guidelines are observed, then this is possible even in the face of the most tremendous odds. First, always be honest to the people. Always tell the people the facts. Never to fool the people. Never the people believe that manna will fall from heaven. Always attest their consciousness as to the reality of the world, the reality of them, the reality of their own economy, and in particular, the difficulties that lie ahead. Our Grenada now increasingly understand that 350 years of British colonialism and 29 years of Hurricaneism cannot be wished away. They now know clearly, after 350 years, British colonialists built one school, and yet it took the only 18 months to the second government ever to be constructed in our country. They understand, Mr. Chairman, that 20 years of Gary brutality, political murders and disappearances, lack of planning, total denial of all basic civil and human rights, dictatorial and repressive rule, mass employment to the tune of well over half of the workforce, almost total destruction of the agricultural basis of the economy, rape of all the democratic in the country, complete demonetization of public service and all workers in the country, internationals with the mafia, with Chile, Haiti, with South Korea, and hated fascist forces around the world cannot be corrected. They understand very clearly that what is now needed is the effort of government and people to a new social, political, and economic order in this of national reconstruction. We in Grenada all firmly follow a path of always placing our people at the center and focus all of our activities, actions, all of our plans. Our goals are to involve them in everything, get them to participate in everything, and organize them popular, democratic, and organizations from which they can easily mobilize for productive action. We believe firmly that only this participation, involvement, organization, and mobilization can lead us for going forward in dangerous and difficult times and achieving the necessary social, political, economic transformation. Dozens of new organizations have arisen in Grenada as a result of this approach in response to this call. These organizations have been created by the people themselves, therefore relevant to the people's needs. These organizations engage in academic research, but pursue concrete goals and objectives in a concrete and practical way and on a basis. These organizations of the people identify the problems in their communities and therefore find solutions for these problems. Thus, Mr. Chairman, community work brigades, for example, these brigades come out of fundings and engage in voluntary work, cutting overhangs, blocking drains, repairing roads, building totally new centers, and generally involved, free of all costs, in rebuilding their community and their country. Remarkable as this sounds, Mr. Chairman, there are some Sundays when 85% of the villages in Grenada are out there doing voluntary work on Sunday mornings. Another such grassroots democratic institution thrown up by solution is the community education councils. These comprising of parents, teachers, students, people of the community generally, are increasingly being involved in helping monitor the quantity and quality of education available to the children of our country. Last year, in January 1980, for a period of 2 weeks, the councils were able to voluntarily effect repairs to and refurbish 66 primary schools in our country, leading to a saving of some $2 million for the taxpayer of our country. As a result of the revolution, Gary's anti-worker and anti-people's laws, such as the Social Services Act of 1970, which took away from the most critical categories of peasantry the right to strike, were repealed. So too, the Amendment Act 1974, which prohibited the use of loudspeakers at public meetings, effectively banning the holding of such things. That law too. Now, everyone is free to use loudspeakers and to hold political meetings at will. At the same time, People's Law 29 of 79. This new law guarantees the rights of workers to form and to join trade unions of their choice, and asks all workers from for trade union activity. Since the revolution, trade union membership has increased from 2% to over 80% in the urban areas and to over 90% in the rural areas. At the same time, maternity leave law passed last year, 3 months paid leave during pregnancy. As well, poor islands with limited resources. Our approach to social and economic development is focused on meeting basic needs of our people. This approach has been really successful. While some advanced industrialized countries are closed hospitals and health clinics, we in Grenada have improved and expanded our basic health services. Our hospitals are now equipped with medicines and a number of new modern items of necessary health equipment, X-ray machines, chairs, and ambulances have been added to the existing stock. The maternity and care units of the hospitals have been updated and equipped. An intensive care unit has been added for this time, and a new hospital has at long last and opened in the last year. While in some industries, medical assistance is being cut back, the Grenada Revolution has brought free basic health care to the Grenadian. This happening for the first time in the history of our country. It has doubled the number of doctors and tripled the number of dentists in the people. It has moved from a situation of 1 dental clinic in 1978 to 7 dental clinics being opened around the country. Some industrialized countries are closing schools and are abandoning educational assistance programs. We are increasing the amount of expenditure on education, providing free milk and houses for primary school children. From September of this year, secondary education will be completely free in our country. While some developed countries are decreasing the availability of university scholarships, Grenada is now providing over 200 university scholarships for its citizens to study abroad, and this figure must be compared with in the last year of Gary, 1978. Mr. Chairman, while some industrialized countries are reaching food subsidy programs to the poor, we have been able to keep cost of some basic food items, such as sugar and rice, well below the world markets through the Coleccion National Importing Board. While such countries are reducing fees to farmers, we have been able to provide increased amounts of fertilizer and seed and planting materials and create a common machinery pool providing access to modern farming technology. The cause of the international crisis has been public housing programs. But today in Grenada, a housing repair program benefiting the poorest people in the country is functioning smooth, and 3 new programs have just been started. Daily, we read about more layoffs and job retrenchments. Thousands are put out of work as factory after factory close their doors. While we in Grenada still have a serious unemployment problem inherited from the dictatorship, we nevertheless were to create over 2,500 new jobs in the first 12 months, thus actually reducing our unemployed force. Understanding that we are a small island state with natural and human resources, our approach has been to get maximum mileage out of minimum resources. This has been constantly upgrading our human resources by lifting the education cultural levels of our people through programs Center for Popular Education, which in instance was able to make just 1,000 of our literate. At the same time, a national teacher service training program is now improving the teaching skills of 500 primary schools in our country. In addition, new training schools have been opened for workers, for fishermen, and for farmers, while in training programs for public workers all been added since the revolution. All of these have aimed at equipping the masses of working people with the necessary skills and expertise needed to construct society. This emphasis of getting the most out of the little that we have is further manifested in such developments as a new cooperative thrust, especially in the agricultural sector, which is aimed, as we say at home, of marrying idle hands with idle lands to increase food production, to save scarce foreign exchange, and simultaneously to reduce unemployment. It is no accident that our theme for the second Festival of the Revolution last week was Grow More Food, Build the Revolution. Understanding the importance of being self-sufficient, especially in food production, the government, the People's Revolutionary Army, has taken up the challenge, embarked on a program this year of feeding itself. Getting the maximum out of the minimum resources has also made it imperative for us to struggle actively against all forms of waste, corruption, and inefficiency. Our policy of self-sufficiency has been spearheaded by our determination to transform our economy by breaking the stifling dependence on other economies and laying the basis for planned and progressive development. This conscious aim can only be accomplished by a scientific and planned approach to development, which utilizes such features as the compilation and analysis of statistics, census data, and feasibility studies. This kind of planning, unprecedented in the history of our country, is now being carried out by teams of committed technocrats. Over the last 2 years, our experience has shown us that our economic viability as a poor microstate means that we must rapidly increase the output of our productive sector. For us, this concretely means the 4 pillars of our national economy: agriculture, agro-industries, tourism, and fisheries. And in each of these areas, we have made important advances and have begun to lay the basis for breaking our traditional dependence and also for achieving a necessary economic transformation in our country. Mr. Chairman, for us, agriculture is a particular priority. The revitalization of agriculture has been given the highest priority by our government. 1981 has been declared the year of agriculture and agro-industries. And this year also, a new Ministry of Rural Development has been created to assist in coordinating and administering greater agricultural production. We in Grenada firmly believe that not only must we produce primary agricultural commodities for export markets, but we must also begin to process our own agricultural products. Hence, the establishment over the past 2 years of an industrial sector in our economy. We have now set up a modern factory capable of canning and bottling fruit juices, nectars, jellies, and condiments, and also for grinding raw coffee and cocoa into refined products. This year, emphasis will be placed on increasing our meat production with the establishment of new pig and poultry farms. We plan also to increase our fish catch by enlarging our fleet of fishing trawlers and continuing the training of our fishermen in modern fishing techniques. Already, significant quantities of our catch are salted and dried for consumption on the local market. In the area of tourism, plans are afoot for the construction of new hotels, for organizing more tours, and for stepped-up international promotion. In brief, these are our plans for increasing domestic production as a way of breaking out of the dependency syndrome. But complementing our local efforts in this regard is our vigorous struggle, along with other developing countries, for a new international economic order that would guarantee better prices for our primary products, open up new markets, correct present trade imbalances, and facilitate the transfer of science and technology from the developed to the developing countries. And even though historically the North-South dialogue has been a dialogue of the deaf, with the South talking and the North not listening, We do not advocate abandonment of this effort. We feel that all efforts to continue to bring pressure to bear on the richer countries of the world, to bring economic justice to the poorer countries, must be continued. And in fact, we certainly acknowledge with appreciation that we have received from countries like Canada, the 10-member countries of the European Economic Community, and various countries of the socialist world, important technical assistance, important economic assistance over these past 2 years. Nonetheless, Mr. Chairman, we would like to stress emphatically the importance of expanding South-South cooperation. We in Grenada understand concretely the benefits that can be derived from principled collaboration and assistance among third world countries, because we have received substantial developmental aid from various countries in the Middle East, from Cuba, from Venezuela, from Panama, from Tanzania, from Kenya, from Nigeria, to mention a few such countries. Such fraternal assistance between and among the states of the South must continue and be strengthened. Mr. Chairman, we in Grenada are quite convinced that peace in the world and peace in the region is essential for our development. There will be no if there and plunder of the poor, there can be no development or peace. The world, the vast resources of the world, must be used for the poor, the hungry, the sick, the handicapped, the dispossessed of the world. We must have peace if we are to attain and maintain peaceful development and progress. Grenada seeks no quarrels. Grenada seeks no interferences, for we have a firm belief in peaceful coexistence, in good neighborliness, in mutual respect for all. We believe firmly and passionately in the legal equality of all states, regardless of size, in territorial integrity and in sovereignty. We believe that we have a right to live in peace. We have a right to develop our own resources for the benefit of our own people and not for the benefit of a tiny handful of transnational corporations around the world. We believe we have a right to build our own economy free from the strings of foreign aid dependency. We have a right to life, a life free from the threat of military power, nuclear threat of our land and resources. We have a right to develop relations with whomever we want, as long as the people of our countries want these relations. We have a right to be free of tension, free of fear, free of intimidation, free of big stick politics, free of instability, free of the threat of mercenary or other invasion, free of terrorism. This is why Grenada in November 1979 initiated in the Organization of American States a resolution calling on all in the region to strictly respect the Caribbean as a zone of peace. The main aspects of our regional policy call for our expressions of deep concern over the heightening of tensions in the region, our desire to see an end to aggressive military maneuvers in the region, our firm support for the concept of ideological pluralism in the region, our determination to have all foreign military bases disbanded once they are on people's territories without their consent, and our firm and repeated support that the region be declared and recognized in practice as a zone of peace in all appropriate regional and international fora. To summarize quickly, Mr. Chairman, in response to the international economic crisis and in specific response to the need to build a strong, viable state, Grenada has concretely brought political, social, and economic benefits to our people through faithful observance of the principles mentioned above. This is how we have come to have had free health care at this point, free education as of September this year, the 9 new training programs for our people, new economic discipline and fiscal management, and a developing productive sector. All of these, Mr. Chairman, are integral parts of our economic development and transformation based on honesty and involvement of the people, as well as on maximum effort and cooperation. Secondly, Grenada has actively and concretely pursued the cause of the special problems and disadvantages of all small, poor microstates in all the international fora available to us. Starting with the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Lusaka, Zambia in August 1979, Grenada first raised this matter with the international community. We pressed hard for and were able to get the establishment of a special committee to monitor and advance the contributions of Commonwealth member states bilaterally and multilaterally to the needs of small island states. Paragraphs 53 and 54 of the final communique of the conference noted the urgent needs of small island states, stating that in order to offset the disadvantages of small size, isolation, and scarce resources, which adversely limit the capacity of such countries to achieve their developmental objectives or to pursue their national interests in a wider international context, special were required. In September 1979, we again raised this important developmental issue at a non-aligned meeting in Havana. And in October 1979, we once again brought the matter before the United Nations, calling for action to be taken on this special problem. And as recently as last month, at New Delhi in India, Grenada once again took the matter to the meeting of the foreign ministers of the non-aligned movement, where some 94 foreign ministers and national liberation movements jointly agreed to take up the special plight of poor microstates. In its final communique, the non-aligned movement expressed the opinion that the island developing countries, especially the smaller ones, require the urgent attention of the international community. And the ministers decided to create a group of experts for studying special measures that could be adopted in favor of island developing countries.